Welcome back to my channel. Grab your coffee and enjoy the interesting history of an iconic businessman, Cornelius Vanderbilt, who has often been depicted as an illiterate brute with a short temper. Someone who was either feared or disliked by most people he encountered. Yet despite his rough demeanor, he became one of the wealthiest men in history. A shrewd and cunning business magnate who once held more wealth than the entire United States Treasury. Before the likes of Rockefeller or Henry Ford, there was Cornelius Vanderbilt, often dubbed the original robber baron, a term for successful industrialists who amassed enormous fortunes through ruthless business practices. His rise from humble beginnings to unimaginable wealth is one of the most fascinating rags-to-riches stories ever told. Vanderbilt's ancestors came to America as servants, making his journey to power and wealth even more remarkable. Let's travel back to the early 1800s to see how it all began. At just 11 years old, Cornelius dropped out of school to work on his father's ferry in New York Harbor, transporting goods across the river. Eager to start his own business, Cornelius needed a boat, and his mother, a farmer with modest savings, loaned him $100. The loan came with a condition. Cornelius had to clear a rocky field for his mother to farm. Demonstrating the strong work ethic that would define his life, Cornelius not only agreed but enlisted local kids to help clear the field in exchange for free rides on his future boat. By 16, he had his first sailboat and started transporting freight and passengers between Staten Island and Manhattan. Competition was fierce, but Vanderbilt set himself apart by offering the lowest fares, quickly building a reputation for reliable and affordable ferry services. After repaying his mother's loan, he reinvested his profits into expanding his business, eventually amassing a fleet of ships. This strategy of reinvesting profits to fuel growth is a classic blueprint for success, much like how Jeff Bezos built Amazon. Vanderbilt's relentless work ethic soon earned him the nickname Commodore. His first major breakthrough came during the War of 1812, when the United States government awarded him a lucrative contract to transport soldiers. Despite his demanding schedule, Cornelius married his cousin at 19 and had 13 children, though he was notoriously neglectful as a husband and father. He even committed his wife and one of his sons to insane asylums, reflecting his ruthless and uncompromising nature. By the late 1820s, Vanderbilt had identified a new opportunity: steamboats. He recognized that steamboat technology was more efficient than sailboats, so he invested heavily in steamboats and used the same undercutting tactics to drive competitors out of business. Some trips were even offered for free, a strategy that bankrupted rivals, allowing Vanderbilt to either buy them out at a discount or force them to pay him to stop competing. As his fleet and power grew, so did his wealth. Despite his immense fortune, Vanderbilt was always considered an outsider by the wealthy elite, partly due to his lack of formal education and rough demeanor. He marketed his services as the people's line, accessible to ordinary people, which only increased his popularity. In 1849, Vanderbilt saw another opportunity during the California Gold Rush. He started offering boat trips to California via a faster route through Nicaragua, securing an exclusive deal with the Nicaraguan government. His trips were faster and cheaper, attracting more customers and making him even richer. In 1853, at nearly 60 years old, Vanderbilt took a rare vacation, leaving his Nicaraguan business in the hands of two partners, Morgan and Garrison. They betrayed him, cutting a deal with Nicaragua's new president, William Walker, to take over Vanderbilt's operations. In response, Vanderbilt famously wrote, "Gentlemen, you have undertaken to cheat me. I won't sue you, for the law is too slow. I'll ruin you." True to his word, he created a blockade, set up a competing business, and ultimately helped overthrow Walker's government, ruining his former partners. In his later years, Vanderbilt shifted his focus to railroads, recognizing that trains were becoming the dominant mode of transportation. He sold off his ships and invested in railroads, consolidating many small railways into a massive interconnected network, creating the largest railroad empire in the world. On the personal front, after the death of his first wife in 1868, Vanderbilt remarried Frank Armstrong Crawford, who was over 40 years younger and also a cousin, continuing his pattern of keeping it in the family. As he grew older, Vanderbilt began to engage in philanthropy, most notably donating $1 million to establish Vanderbilt University, a sum that was the largest charitable gift in American history at the time. Despite his declining health, he remained as fiery and combative as ever, even attempting to attack journalists who reported on his illness. Cornelius Vanderbilt passed away in 1877 at the age of 82. At his death, his fortune was worth around $100 million, equivalent to approximately $200 billion today. He was estimated to control about 1/9 of all US currency in circulation at the time. Despite his wealth, he lived a relatively modest life, continually reinvesting in his business. He left most of his fortune to his oldest son, with the rest divided among his other children, whom he largely saw as weak and undeserving. Cornelius Vanderbilt was a polarizing figure, hated by many but respected for his undeniable impact on American industry. He revolutionized transportation, first with sailboats, then steamboats, and finally railroads, connecting the country and shaping the economy in ways few others could. His story of turning a $100 loan into a $200 billion fortune remains one of the most remarkable tales of entrepreneurial success in history. To get more interesting business histories like this, please hit the subscribe button if you are new to this channel.